আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমরা আজকে ক্লাস শুরু করছি। লাস্ট ক্লাসে আমাদের আলোচনা ছিল ফুয়েল সেল এবং তার কনস্ট্রাকশন, ওয়ার্কিং প্রিন্সিপাল এগুলো নিয়ে। আমরা ফুয়েল সেলের ওয়ার্কিং প্রিন্সিপালের মাঝপথে আমরা ছিলাম এবং কিভাবে ফুয়েল সেলের কারেন্ট ফ্লো হয় সে পর্যন্ত আমরা ধারণা লাভ করেছি। কিন্তু ফুয়েল সেলের ডান দিকের যে পোর্শনটা আছে, অর্থাৎ সবার শেষের যে পোর্শন, সেটা আমাদের এখনো ডিসকাস হয়নি। আজকে আমাদের ক্লাসে সেখান থেকে আমরা স্টার্ট করছি। অর্থাৎ ফুয়েল সেলের যে বাকি অংশটা ছিল আলোচনা, সেগুলো আমরা আজকে এই ক্লাসে দেখব। আমি এটা শেয়ার করছি ফুয়েল সেলের যেটা আমাদের লাস্ট ক্লাস আলোচনা হয়েছিল। So let's get started. Hope that I can see the slide which I have shared already. So this is the structure of proton exchange membrane fuel cell. We are starting this session. তো লাস্ট ক্লাসের সর্বশেষ আলোচনা পর্যন্তই আমরা ছিলাম, সেখান থেকে শুরু করব। তো আমি খুব সংক্ষেপে সে পর্যন্ত একবার বলে নিই। গত ক্লাসে আমাদের আলোচনা ছিল এখানে ফুয়েল সেলের একটা ফুয়েল ট্যাঙ্ক থাকবে। দেয়ার মাস্ট বি এ হাইড্রোজেন ফুয়েল ট্যাঙ্ক, সো হোয়ার দ্য হাইড্রোজেন অ্যাটম আর দেয়ার, it's ready to supply at any time, and there are two chambers. One is inlet chamber and another is the outlet chamber. The inlet chamber is the feedback chamber, and the outlet chamber from where the hydrogen gas is supplied to the chamber. তাহলে আমাদের এই আলোচনা কমপ্লিট হয়ে গেল। এবার আমরা বাকি অংশটা দেখি। সেটা হলো যে at first the hydrogen gas are entered into the chamber and it dissolves into electron and hydrogen ion. So for an example, we can consider 4 hydrogen atoms are there. Among the 4 hydrogen atoms, 3 hydrogen atoms are dissolved into 3 hydrogen ion and 3 electrons, and the remaining hydrogen is again fed back into the hydrogen gas chamber. This is the general expression of the hydrogen atom and how are they dissolved. We have already discussed this. Then what will happen? The hydrogen ions are passed inside the proton exchange membrane as seen in the figure, which is written as PEM, that is the proton exchange membrane. It only allows the hydrogen ion. As we have counted that there are 4 hydrogen atoms and 1 is remaining, so the rest of the 3 has dissolved into 3 hydrogen ion and 3 electrons as paired here. There is 3 electrons and there are 3 hydrogen ions. So what will happen then? After few interval, the hydrogen are passed into the next layer because of the proton exchange membrane, as the proton exchange membrane allows only positive ion or hydrogen. Therefore, the hydrogens are passed into the next layer, which is on the right hand side, we have seen. So this hydrogen is just takes place here. And what will happen then? Because of the existence of lot of positive ions, there should be a potential difference between this terminal and this terminal, which is known as the anode and the cathode terminal. And we have seen that because of the presence of lot of positive charges here and the negative electrons here, there would be a great potential difference, for which the electrons will tend to move through an electrical load to this terminal. An electrical load must be connected to the anode and cathode properly so that the electron can easily flow over it, and এর মধ্যে the electron গুলো খুব সহজে চলে আসতে পারে, so that the electron can flow through the electrical load or the way or the path. It creates the flow of current actually, as you know that the flow of electron and the flow of current is just the opposite to each other. As they are opposite to each other, we can represent them in different way. Like we can represent as if we just flip the arrow, then the direction is presented the direction of current actually. So if the electron is directed with this arrow here, this is the flow of electron, then the flow of current will be just the opposite of this electron. আমরা কি বলতে পারি যে ইলেকট্রন ফ্লো এর বিপরীত দিকে কারেন্টটা ফ্লো করবে। And in the last class we have discussed up to this. So this is current flow and this is the flow of electron. So that's the explanation, and the current is already flown inside it. So let me change the color so that it can be identified from the rest. It could be anything in between this and this. Okay, so this color indicates the flow of current, and the green arrows represent the flow of electron. So the electrons are now passed through the path, and the hydrogen ion, they are passed through the fluorescence membrane and reach here. So we have discussed up to this, and now what will happen then? There would be the electron and there would be the hydrogen atom. As we have counted that 3 hydrogen atoms are dissolved, then we get 3 hydrogen ion here, which is passed through the photoelectric membrane, and we get 3 electrons which has just passed through the electrical load. For this reason, the electrons are here, and by this time the hydrogen atom and electron, they are just comes close to each other, and it forms the hydrogen atom again. So we consider that there are 3 electrons and 3 hydrogen, and among the 3 electrons, these 2 electrons and these 2 hydrogen ion or atom forms this hydrogen gas. That is, 1 electron and 1 hydrogen will produce a single atom, and another electron and another hydrogen ion produces another atom. These 2 atoms are bunched together to form a hydrogen gas or hydrogen molecule. This hydrogen molecule is now presented in the oxidant chamber. Now come to the point, what will happen if we flow air through the chamber? So there is another chamber on the right hand side where we have to pass the air. The air comes from the ambient or environment, and it could be of room temperature or more or less whatever. Then we know that there are a lot of elements in the air, such as the most common elements. One of the most common elements is nitrogen gas at around 78%. Then there are some oxygen, it's almost 20%. Then 98 up to 99% substances are nitrogen and oxygen. So the remaining 1% or something like that has carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Then there could be some lead, or there could be sulfur, there could be different types of gases. So if we consider all the gases are passed through the chamber, we know that the most neutral object is the nitrogen, which is the most naturally inert, and it has in periodic table we know that this nitrogen gas is not intended to react with other chemical or other elements. The most reactant part is the oxygen, as we know. So the oxygen just tries to react with the hydrogen that forms the water, that is H2O. So what will happen then because of this reaction between fuel cell? And this is considered as the exhaust gas, or the you can say the unused portion of this fuel cell, or the exhaust, whatever. So what will happen? So it just take the air from the ambient, and from the air the oxygen try to react with the hydrogen, and it forms at first the water. And during the operation, you know that fuel cell becomes very heated because of the reaction, and for this reason the water very quickly reaches to the boiling point, and this is basically the water vapor, although it could be of liquid form after cooling, but without cooling it is generally in vapor form. So this is the general explanation of the remaining part of a hydrogen fuel cell. Is it very clear to you? If there is any question, please ask me. আমাদের হাইড্রোজেন ফুয়েল সেলের যে কনস্ট্রাকশন পার্ট সেটা আমাদের অলমোস্ট হয়ে গেল। এখন আমরা মানে ওয়ার্কিং প্রিন্সিপাল পার্টটা আমাদের হয়ে গেল। এখন এখানে যদি কারো কোনো রকম কোশ্চেন বা ইত্যাদি থাকে আমাকে তোমরা আস্ক করো, আমি চেষ্টা করব আনসার করার। সো ইফ देयर इज एनी क्वेश्चन प्लीज आस्क मी। we can denote this is the potential difference. This is the potential difference means the difference in potential between the electrodes, that is the anode and cathode, from here to here. That is why we can draw some vertical line. So this is the terminal. I try to explain. It could be a dotted line so that we can identify it from the other part. So this indicates that this is just for indication, nothing else. The potential difference between these two terminals. One is this terminal and another is this terminal. So one could be the anode and another could be the cathode. What is the difference between anode and cathode? Do you know anybody? Can you reply? What is an anode and what is a cathode? So I have identified this part so that we can differentiate the other part of this. So this could be the complete explanation of the total working principle of a fuel cell. So if you were at the end of the fuel cell, if you have any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, I am interested to start a new topic, which is the difference between fuel cell and other, or the difference between fuel cell and battery, and what are the application of fuel cell. We can discuss this. Acha, Alamita, now I try to share another slide. Which is the construction. After the construction, we have to explain the application and its advantages and disadvantages, etc. That is why I have to restart with this slide. If you face any problem, you can ask me. Number one, at the end of the explanation or the working principle, we have to clarify the reactions that take place between anode, cathode, and the whole fuel cell. In anode part, the hydrogen is just dissolved into hydrogen and an electron. This is the general expression. And the cathode part, the hydrogen oxygen forms water, and the third part is the overall reaction. Hydrogen oxygen makes water. That's it. So let's get started. The applications and comparison between fuel cell and battery. So this is another topic of today. And let's get started. First point is that what are the comparisons between the fuel cell and battery? And comparison doesn't mean there are only the difference, rather it means there are the similarities and dissimilarities both. It covers both similarity and dissimilarity. Therefore, we can use or we can mention some similarity between them. Afterwards, we need to discuss the dissimilarity between these two. The first point is the definition. Definition means what is a fuel cell and what is a battery. So we know that according to the definition, there is no major changes. There is no major changes. The thing is almost the same. There is the fuel cell and battery both converts chemical energy into electricity, or it converts chemical energy into electrical energy. So this feature is common for both the battery and fuel cell. So in this aspect, we cannot differentiate much. এই সংজ্ঞাতে আমরা আসলে এটাকে খুব বেশি আলাদা করতে পারি না। So we can discuss the next point. This is the virtual construction materials. That is two electrodes and electrolyte. What does it mean actually? It means that what is the substance or what are the chemicals used in the fuel cell or battery? If we generally explain this, we get three common things. Two of them are electrodes. One is the anode, another is the cathode. and the third one is electrolyte. So anode, cathode, and electrolyte, these three fundamental items are common for both the fuel cell and battery. So in this regard, fuel cell and battery is almost the same. তাহলে আমরা এই দৃষ্টিতেও খুব বেশি একটা পার্থক্য করতে পারছি না। আমরা আরো সামনের দিকে চলে যাই, যেখানে কোনো পার্থক্য পাওয়া যায় কিনা দেখি। So the next point is supply of chemical material. So depending on the supply of chemical material, there is a difference between fuel cell and battery. As we know that we have used different types of battery in our watch or in our household applications such as toys and remote control, then clock, then cellular phone. We also use in calculator and so on. So there are a lot of uses of this battery in our daily life. But we have observed that we are not changing any type of chemical in the battery after use actually. What we do, we just make charges and discharges, and we are doing charging and discharging each and every day, such as in our mobile or laptops. And there are some non-rechargeable battery, which we purchase for one-time use, such as in calculator or clock, whatever. So just when they are manufactured in the factory, the manufacturer injects the chemical or the required chemical inside it. And when the buyer or purchaser buy it from a market, then after its purchase, the user is not intended to change any chemical inside it. So this is general for the battery, and there are a lot of battery, and almost their mechanism is the same. There are only two difference in the battery. One is rechargeable and other is not non-rechargeable. But the chemical composition, according to the chemical composition, they are injected while they are manufacturing and so on. Afterwards, there is no scope of injection of chemical in the battery. That's it. On the other hand, in case of fuel cell, we have to continuously supply the fuel inside the cell to obtain electrical energy from it. So what does it mean? It means that if we want to run a fuel cell and if we want to produce electricity from the fuel cell, we have to continuously supply fuel, and we cannot stop supplying fuel if we want to produce electricity. As long as the fuel is supplied to the fuel cell can produce electricity. But if we stop the supply, or if the supply is interrupted in any way, the fuel cell cannot generate electricity anymore. So this is the basic feature of fuel cell and battery, and this is the basic difference between fuel cell and battery. This is the continuation of energy or chemical supply. One is restricted to flow chemical inside it, and the other allows, and that it must be allowed to receive chemical until the whole operation ends. তার মানে যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত ফুয়েল সেল চলবে ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত আসলে আমাদেরকে কন্টিনিউয়াসলি কি দিতে হবে, হাইড্রোজেন বা যে কোনো ফুয়েল সাপ্লাই দিতে হবে। So we have now discussed the supply of chemical material. Then the third one is the scale of energy. So at first we have to understand what is the scale of energy or power. So this is there is another idea. As we know that we have rechargeable light, we use calculator, toy, or we use many type of household devices. But some of these require very small power, such as calculator, such as clock. It requires very, very little amount of power. But this is known as a small scale operation. Just like a calculator or remote control or clock, it receives very low amount of electrical power in order of few milliwatts. So this is known as small scale. And what is medium scale? The medium scale we can consider the UPS or IPS in our household devices. In our home, we use some IPS or UPS, which is of several hundred watts, in order of 100 watts. That is why in this respect, the scale varies from each other. The scale or the power of energy varies from each other in order of several, there is milliwatt up to several hundred watts. This is for battery. Beyond the power, that is, the battery is not suitable for large power application. Large power application starts from several kilowatts up to megawatt range. And for large power application, battery is not totally feasible. Rather, we have to use fuel cell or some other application or some other device to reach this type of large scale. তাহলে এখানে কি হলো যে আমাদের ব্যাটারিতে আমরা বেশি পরিমাণ পাওয়ার হ্যান্ডেল করতে পারি না। বেশি পরিমাণ পাওয়ার হ্যান্ডেল করার জন্য সবচেয়ে ভালো হলো ফুয়েল সেল, এবং ফুয়েল সেল থেকে আমরা অনেক বেশি পরিমাণ পাওয়ার হ্যান্ডেল করতে পারি, সেটা আমরা তাহলে বললাম। Another point is that the heat or thermal energy generation. This is another difference between fuel cell and battery, which indicates that during the operation, so we have used several battery in our daily life, but we didn't experience large amount of heat or thermal condition. If we feel the thermal condition by our visual observation, or by touching it, we get that, we know that, we come to know that actually there is no that much heat which is produced in the battery. Its heat is totally negligible, especially if we consider price cells, or if we consider the lithium polymer battery, the, or we can use other alkaline battery. However, the temperature is very, very low. That is, the low means this is almost around the ambient temperature, and the chemical reaction doesn't produce that much heat. Therefore, the heat generation of battery is quite low. There are some other battery which produces some thermal energy, such as nickel cadmium battery or lithium ion battery. As in the previous technology, we have experienced some heat from there, but the heat is not that much significant compared to any fuel cell. That is why we can conclude that in any type of dry cell or fuel cell, or any type of battery, the thermal energy generation is not so much. On the other hand, if we consider fuel cell has several. Fuel cell has, I think, there is another mechanism. The mechanism of fuel cell and dry cell is totally different, as we have learned from the last slide. Therefore, during the chemical reaction, the fuel cell produces much heat. So there are two reasons. One is the energy conversion amount. The amount of energy conversion is quite higher than that of the battery. This is one of the reasons. And another reason is that during the chemical operation, the chemical process, the heat is generated. So for these two reasons, there are sufficient amount of heat which is produced from the fuel cell, and this amount of heat is just causes the water to become boiling water. And for this reason, additional thermal mechanism is required to reduce its temperature for safe operation. এই প্রসেসের জন্য কি করতে হয়? Fuel cell requires additional cooling system so that if heat or temperature is that is within the is possible to maintain within the tolerable limit, এবং এটা যে যেন তার সেই লিমিটকে এক্সিড না করে, সেটার জন্য আমাদের আসলে এটা টলারেবল লিমিট এটার জন্য আসলে আমাদের এখানে একটা ইউজ করতে হবে। দেয়ার মাস্ট বি এ কুলিং সিস্টেম which should be used in fuel cell for this thermal issue. But in case of battery, we know that no such arrangement is required for a battery. So therefore, we can add another point here, that is the requirement of a cooling system. If we write like this, the requirement of cooling system in fuel cell, it is required and in case of batteries, the cooling system. So this could be number 6. This could be number 6. The third one is that the environmental impact. We know that each and every energy conversion or the power converter has some environmental impact. In most cases, the environmental impact is negative, and it has a harsh effect on nature or the environment. And the fuel cell and battery is not an exception, as we know that the battery is not so much harmful for the environment, because the level of energy conversion is low. The battery doesn't produce the plastic. Sorry, বোধ হয় লাইনটা ইন্টারাপ্ট হয়ে গেছে। তাহলে এগুলো ব্যাপার যে environmental impact যে ইস্যুটা আমরা আলোচনা করছিলাম, although battery doesn't have that much impact on environment, but there could be some negative environmental impact by recycling. Recycling is another concept by which it means that as there are several types of non-rechargeable battery, and as this is one-time battery, so after just its uses, we just dispose this battery. And from this disposal, if it is not proper, then there could be some negative environmental impact from this recycling. Another issue is that some battery are there that emits lead from here, and this is not good for the environment. Therefore, if it is not experience this type of problem, then the battery is not harmful for the environment. We can consider that. If the battery is lead free, then it's good for the environment. And if it is properly recycled, then there is no, it could be expected that the environmental impact is not that much. Then we can discuss for the fuel cell. As we have discussed, it uses hydrogen basically, and all the reaction is just the reaction between hydrogen and oxygen that produces water. It just produces a lot of heat. We didn't experience any harmful gas from this fuel cell, and the wastage, we get water from the wastage, which is just we can say the distilled water or the absolute water, where no other elements are found. So this is of fuel cell and battery. All we have discussed, and just one point left. This is the longevity of the fuel cell or battery. So longevity means that is, if we start operation of battery and fuel cell, what is the longevity? So the longevity indicates that the lifetime actually. The lifetime of battery is low compared to that of the fuel cell. Its lifetime is lower actually in comparison to the fuel cell because of several issues. Number one, the battery could not be rechargeable. So non-rechargeable battery inherently their lifetime is low, so probably few months. And there are another type of battery which is known as rechargeable battery, and you know that the rechargeable battery, the performance just started decaying after 1 or 2 years. That is why car battery or IPS or EPS, we observe that after 2 or 3 years, the battery doesn't work properly. Therefore, its lifetime or longevity is low. On the other hand, fuel cell, because of its mechanism and working principle, it is a long time. That is, one can use it long time, and it could be used in several years, as there is no decay in any type of I think the items or the compounds or components inside it. This is so manufactured that one can use it since for several years. So this is the vital issue for the fuel cell, and this is the issue for battery. তাহলে লংজিভিটির ক্ষেত্রে এসে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে ফুয়েল সেলের লংজিভিটিটা বেশি আর ব্যাটারি লংজিভিটিটা কম. So these are the common comparison between fuel cell and battery. Let's get started the applications. If you have any question on the comparisons, then you can ask me. And later we will discuss the limitation of fuel cell and the advantages of fuel cell. Now come to the point, what are the applications? The application means what are the practical uses of fuel cell. So fuel cell has a lot of applications in our daily life. Mostly, or most cases, they use in electric vehicle. As you know, that electric vehicle is gradually getting popularity day by day. It's getting popularity now, and the rechargeable compared to the rechargeable car, fuel cell cars are most that fuel cell car offers several that is attractive features, such as if we consider an electric vehicle cannot run very fast because of its mechanism or the limitation of the storage. On the other hand, we know that fuel cell can produce a lot of electrical power. For this reason, the speed of fuel cell car is higher than that of the battery-driven car. So this is the first point. Second point is that the mileage, if we consider the mileage for the battery car and the fuel cell based car, then we observe that the mileage is far better if we use fuel cell in a car or any vehicle. It could run several hundred kilometers with one storage or after the storage is full. That is, if we make the storage full, that is ready to run several kilometers. But if the battery is fully charged, it cannot run that much longer actually. So this is the one of the major reasons. So why fuel cell car is getting popularity, and this is in several types of vehicle. Fuel cell are very popular. Not only their use, they are very popular. Then the second point, to produce electrical power, one can produce electrical power from the fuel cell by supplying hydrogen gas into it. But most of the researchers think that this is not that much commercially suitable operation. But we can do this if and there is a advantage of fuel cell is that, as we know that the hydrogen is abundant in nature, so oxygen is also sufficient quantity here. That is why if we use hydrogen gas for the fuel, then we can use the fuel cell. There is no chance of diminishing the hydrogen soon because the most available material in the universe is the hydrogen. Therefore, it is the mostly available gas or fuel ever. Only there could be an issue with oxygen and the limitation of oxygen. This is another issue. And the third thing is laboratory. So laboratory, there are a lot of scopes of fuel cell. That is, there are several types of fuel cell. One could be it could be hydrogen fuel cell or solid oxide fuel cell. So there are different types of fuel cell. That is, it depends on the nature of fuel, or it could be classified on the basis of electrolyte. So these are the applications of fuel cell. So if you have any question on applications, you can ask. Then I'd like to discuss some other features of fuel cell. There is the advantages of fuel cell and disadvantages of fuel cell. So let's get started. So what are the limitations of fuel cell? We have to understand before using it. So let's discuss about the advantages, disadvantages of the fuel cell. First point is the advantage, and we can pick some point from the comparison. We can pick some suitable points, and we can branch together. Then we can get the advantage. Other than the mentioned issue, we can conclude that there could be some other advantages other than the advantages as stated in the comparisons. So you can mention or pick some point from this. Similarly, if you want to discuss about the disadvantages, you can seek some point from the comparisons. In some aspect, battery is good, but some other aspect, fuel cell is good. Fuel cell performs good. So it depends on totally the application where we want to use the energy converter. So this is the point. And third thing is that if we want to apply fuel cell for a small scale application, what will happen then? Suppose we want to apply fuel cell in a clock or a remote control car or a remote control or any watch or any type of small scale application. Suppose for if anyone want to use a fuel cell in his calculator, so what will happen then? So simply we can state that this is totally not feasible, If we consider very low amount of electrical power or electrical energy, fuel cell is suitable for high power application, but fuel cell is not totally suitable for low power application, especially if we consider it if we consider battery, there is some aspect battery is good, such as in calculator or watch, remote control. The fuel cell is not feasible because fuel cell requires a lot of space. It requires a lot of arrangement. Additional cooling system is required for this fuel cell, and the this is the limitation, or this is the disadvantages of fuel cell. So for the small power application, fuel cell is not totally suitable. So these are the limitation of fuel cell. Another thing is that another limitation is that the temperature. So during the operation, fuel cell gets very heated, and it produces the water. It makes the produces water into vapor because of its excessive heat. So this is a careful. Some precaution should be addressed before installing and during the operation. This is not as simple as battery. So if we consider all the things, we can simply state that in some application battery is suitable, and in some other application fuel cell is suitable. But we cannot concretely that is we can concrete that is in generally we cannot state it that fuel cell is better in all aspects. And similarly, we cannot claim that battery is suitable in all aspects. Some aspect fuel cell is suitable, some aspect battery is suitable, and we have to understand this thing before we want to apply it any engineering applications. So this is what I want to say, and we are not come at the end of the slide. I have something to say about the fuel cell. That is the type of fuel cell. As we know that there are several types of fuel cell, and it could be classified depending on the nature of fuel or the nature of electrodes, whatever. At first, if we think it depends on the nature of fuel, so there could be a hydrogen fuel cell or solid oxide fuel cell or alkyl fuel cell, whatever. So it depends on the nature of fuel, or according to the name of fuel, the fuel cell can be renamed, or according to the principle of operation in the proton exchange membrane or the membrane, it can be classified. So which slide is presented before, it represents actually the proton exchange membrane fuel cell, which is known as PEMFC. So what does it mean actually? So its name is hydrogen fuel cell. Sometimes I say hydrogen fuel cell, and sometimes I say proton exchange membrane fuel cell. So what is the actual name? There could be a confusion, but I assure you that there is a confusion because hydrogen fuel cell, the name comes from the fuel hydrogen. This is just like the petrol engine or diesel engine. We often say the basic name is internal combustion engine, and the fuel could be petrol or diesel or octane, whatever. It's different thing, but we usually say the petrol engine or diesel engine, whatever. So both are internal combustion engine. Similarly, the fuel cell is fuel cell, but depending on the fuel, or whether it is hydrogen or oxygen or whatever, the fuel cell can be classified. So this is one aspect. Another thing is that it could be classified according to the working principle. Working principle means depending on the proton exchange membrane or the exchange membrane or the electrolyte, depending on the electrolytes, a fuel cell could be of several types. So this is ins and outs of fuel cell. How does we there is as the name is given. So the name is recalled according to either electrolyte or depending on the nature of fuel. That's it. So in this respect, we can say that the PEMFC could be called proton exchange membrane fuel cell, or the same cell can be called hydrogen fuel cell if we consider the name hydrogen as fuel. তাহলে আমাদের এখানে কি আলোচনা হলো, যে আমরা এখানে ক্লাসিফিকেশন আলোচনা হলো এবং ফুয়েল সেল কাকে বলে। তাহলে আমরা এখানে টোটালি যে ক্লাসিফিকেশন আলোচনা হলো ইতিমধ্যে, সেটা হচ্ছে the definition, then the classification, construction, working principle, the advantages and disadvantages and comparisons, then its applications. All these things are discussed about fuel cells since the last class, and we are now at the end of the class. So if you have any question, you can ask me regarding the fuel cell. And I think that this thing is so much too easy to understand because I have studied different side and found that this explanation is very easy for us to understand. That is why I'm sharing the thoughts with you and hope that you have understood it very easily. There is no complexity in fuel cell and battery. It's as simple as it is. So afterwards, even if you do not understand, you can ask me. No problem. I will explain. I will try to explain what you asked me. আর সিআর কি অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স কালেক্ট করেছো?
জি স্যার।
আচ্ছা, তো আমরা তো মোটামুটি ফুয়েল সম্পর্কে আলোচনা একটা করলাম। তো তোমাদের কোনো যদি কোশ্চেন, ওপিনিয়ন, চিন্তা ভাবনা, থট থাকে বলতে পারো, তাহলে আমরা সেই অনুযায়ী অ্যান্সার দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করবো। ঠিক আছে, আমরা মনে হয় কারো কোনো কোশ্চেন সেভাবে নাই। আমরা ক্লাসটা এখানে শেষ করছি। উইশ অল দ্য বেস্ট। থ্যাঙ্কস ফর অ্যাটেন্ডিং দ্য ক্লাস। বিদায় নিচ্ছি সবার থেকে। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম স্যার।
স্যার শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?